Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and for today's card I'm using the new Hutson and Concord 9th United We Flourish collaboration set. Each month Hutson has been collaborating with different stamp companies and doing a stamp set and coordinating die set that is exclusive to Hutson. So this month it's Concord 9th, and this set is absolutely adorable. And the minute I got it, I knew I had to do something rainbow themed. So there's this adorable sprinkle stamp in the set. So I got my card base ready, which is some white Bristol smooth cardstock that I cut to 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it at 5.5 inches. And then I taped it down to my work surface with a piece of post-it tape just to mask off right where the crease is in the card so that I didn't get any ink stamped on the back, what will be the back of the card. And then I'm just inking up this sprinkle stamp with different Distress Oxide inks in rainbow order, starting from the top and working my way down and just slightly overlapping each color as I stamp it. So it creates this fun rainbow sprinkle effects look. This was so fun and it was so quick and easy to do. I'm obsessed with the Distress Oxide inks. I could go on about this all day. I think I've said this in every video. Every time I use them, I just love them. And they clean off the stamp like a dream. I was using my little Lawn Fawn stamp Shammy to just wipe the stamp off between each color. And I would just keep inking up the stamp and going downwards towards the bottom of the card. When I got to the bottom, I realized I needed to stamp right along the top there to kind of keep it continuous because, like I said, I was overlapping each color. So I just inked up the stamp finally with that Wilted Violet ink, stamped it along the top of the card there, and I've got my fun rainbow sprinkles background. So that's the card base. So now for the main images, this set comes with pieces to build. You could either build a cupcake or an ice cream cone, so I chose the ice cream cone for my card. And I inked up the base of the ice cream cone with antique linen distress ink. And I did the old rock and roll technique. This used to be a thing way back in the day, and it, you know, kind of comes back every once in a while. But I inked up the stamp with the antique linen ink, and then I rolled the stamp just a little bit more towards the bottom and the side in Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink. And then with these inks, I was able to use just the corner of that antique linen oxide pad to kind of blend those colors together so you don't end up with any harsh lines. What you could also do to get something similar is ink up your stamp and use a little sponge dauber with the ink on it and kind of dab it against the stamp image, and that would help soften it out. That would also work too. But I didn't have any problem doing it with my ink pads, and I also don't mind. You will get a little bit of ink transfer. Like here, I inked up the top of the ice cream cone with picked raspberry ink, and then I rocked the top of it in the Wilted Violet ink, and then I'm using the corner again of this picked raspberry ink to kind of blend out that little bit of purple there, so it's not, again, not that harsh straight lines or anything like that. And the ink pads will pick up a little bit of color here and there. I'm not too worried about it. This works really well with these sorts of inks or pigment inks in general, just because you have that extra time to kind of fiddle and blend and do whatever before they, you know, dry on the stamp, which you could get then spray with water. There's many ways to do it, but with these it was just super easy. So I ended up doing a second time because I wanted to use another color combo. I was only going to use one ice cream cone originally, but I was having fun playing with the colors. So I did the exact same thing again for the ice cream cone base, like the cone itself. And then for the top, I inked it up in the Fossilized amber and then rocked it in the Peacock feathers. So after I had stamped them, I had die cut them with their coordinating dies, and then there's a little sprinkles image that can be stamped on the top of it. So I inked it up in the colors I hadn't used yet. So on the yellow and green one, I inked up the Spiced Marmalade and added that as my little sprinkles. And then I used the Salty Ocean on the pink and purple. And it does show up. It's hard to see in camera, but you can stamp these inks on top of other dry inks and they will show up. So I can't get enough. If you have never tried the Distress Oxide inks, I highly recommend them. They are just fun to play with. So I die cut a stitched rectangle from some white cardstock, and then I stamped the Oh So Sweet sentiment from the set onto that, and then I backed that with just a piece of black cardstock just to frame it a little bit to make it pop. And then I'm going to pop that onto my card base with some foam tape. And then I had applied foam tape to the ice cream cone and the backs to pop those up onto my die cut rectangle here so that everything's kind of popped up with some dimension. And then on the inside of the card, there's another sentiment from this set. So I stamped that on the inside of the card. And then I decided to use that same little triangular sprinkles stamp and stamp them along the top of the sentiment, almost as if there's little piles of sprinkles on top of the sentiment on the inside of the card. So I used all those same Distress Oxide inks and stamped them in a rainbow order. So I started with one on each end, and then I did the middle ones, and then the final two colors, just so that everything was kind of evenly spaced and fit along the top of the sentiment. So I started with the Picked Raspberry on one side, the Wilted Violet on the other, and then I stamped the Fossilized Amber and Peacock Feathers more in the middle, and then added my Salty Ocean, and finally the Spice Marmalade. So again, I've got the rainbow order of sprinkles kind of piled up on the sentiment. And the card was going to be done here, but of course I had to add a little bit of bling just to give it some sparkle. So I pulled out some Pretty Pink Posh Sparkling Clear Mix sequins and just sprinkled those rather liberally here on my card front. And by sprinkle, I mean placed with intention. And I'm just going to adhere those into place with little dabs of my Ranger Multi-Medium Matte Adhesive and just picking up the sequins with my jewel picker, pressing those onto the adhesive, and that's going to finish off the card. So I will have a link below the video to my blog post and links to all the supplies I used. If you are interested in any of that, check out the description box below my video. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting on my videos. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye!